So every once in a while, you complete a deadline and you feel the need to relax a little bit. I was under some big pressure to meet a month-long deadline, and actually came just after last week's podcast, and decided to have a little celebratory drink. It started at 3 o'clock the Thursday before 4th of July with a little tequila drink, and it ended up Friday night, Saturday morning at 2 a.m. with a shot of blackberry brandy. And never in my life would I suggest having blackberry brandy to were my worst enemy, let alone to have myself. Now, a 36-hour bender, that's no problem. But to cap it off with the blackberry brandy, that was, well, shall we say, a big mistake. You're listening to the Toddcast. You're listening to the Happy Hour Toddcast, presented by GoodCleanFunLife.com. Find us on iTunes by searching GCFL and subscribe today. I like it because I'm watching your reason.
Oh, did you see my face? I didn't even know that wasn't even for you. That was just for me. So just briefly, I was back in New Jersey, and we were talking about blackberry brandy, and I said that one of the reasons I didn't drink a lot when I was a kid was because I just had, like, my taste was just superior. I've always had superior taste when it came to alcohol. So, like, they'd be like, "Hey, let's drink some blackberry brandy," and I'd have a sip, and I'm like, you know what? No, that's just awful. That's just the awfulest.
Well, I mean, if you can imagine, as I said, it was a long several hours. It started with a couple nice tequila drinks up at the blacksmith, and I was I don't want to say that I don't like it, like, bragging about how much work we're doing. There's so many people who do what I do in media production and overly brag about either how good they have it or how hard they're working, and I just kind of let the results stick for themselves.
Right.
But I'd gone on a 12-hour bending or editing binge on Wednesday. So prior to the Tidecast, I had been in front of my computer. I had been editing for 12 hours straight, and it wasn't party stuff. I mean, it was enjoyable stuff to do, but it just wasn't our bag. And like I said, it was a long, drawn out thing that we had to do, and finally got that done. And yeah, and then all hell broke loose. So
that's one of the things I've done a little bit of video production, and the editing is just so tedious. I mean, even if, no matter what you're editing, you're like, you've got to be into it. Like, we have, like, this ADD kid who's into doing the editing, and that's great because he can do it. Because I can do it. I just don't like it. It's not as much fun for me. Like, there are people who enjoy it, and there are people who don't. I'm on the don't team.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I guess I definitely do enjoy it, and always pulling things together. It's much different than photography. Photography is image, and the reason I mention that is because Natalie, who's pretty much the photographer of the two of us, is also learning video editing, and there's just so many more steps involved with video editing versus photography. You want to edit as little as possible in photography,
right? But where in video, a lot of times, especially when you're doing the documentary style, you just shoot everything and then look at it later and say, okay, what do I need? What do I have to lose?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so go ahead.
I used one of your quotes, or not your quote, but I had this week I was finishing out the Dew Tour weekend. Actually, the 2 videos up on the YouTube page for that. But yeah, it was a 10-minute long video of skateboarding, parties, all sorts of craziness, and I used the hashtag #KillYourDarlings because I had to get it down to a reasonable minute mark.
Yeah. I don't know who said that. I feel like it. I heard it from Stephen King, but I don't. I mean, he didn't tell it to me. I read it in a Stephen King book, but I think it's older than him.
I think I do. I actually wanted to make sure that I was using it properly, and I guess there was a movie that just came out recently that was called Kill Your Darlings with Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter fame, and it was
Really?
about aspiring writers. And I only read as much as I needed to figure out that I was using it properly and that it was a literary reference.
Yes. And so, can I William Faulkner. I just asked the internet real quick. William Faulkner said it.
There you go.
And I don't know if you know anything about William Faulkner, but he was verbose. So I can't imagine what his stories looked like before he started killing his darlings. So before we get too far without mentioning it, how's that new background coming for you? It's a very sharp background you got.
Yes, isn't this beautiful? And it's cool. It's one of those quick pop-up ones. Obviously, we're using this for the OC Summer Honey campaign that we're doing with Jack Daniels.
Ting.
But I thought I'd just throw it up for fun. Although I don't know, maybe the Matt Amy naked lady behind me is better.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen. But so we're taking this out to the accounts, and we're going to basically be bribing people to enter their picture into the Jack Honey Instagram, using the hashtag and that sort of thing, and selecting both a business and an individual that will win a little media package at the end of summer. I honestly think. I don't want it to be cheesy, and I don't think anything that we put our name behind ultimately ends up cheesy. Although but I think it could be something more that grows over the years, where it could be even a monetary prize pack at the end of summer, and a little bit of prestige to be Ocean City's summer honey.
Right.
I think that could be cool, but
And so you're going to be at places with this up and encourage people to come in front of it and do the hashtagging.
Yeah. So the idea being that we're going to be out at we have 8 accounts. They're all like the beach and pool bars in Ocean City. Your favorites, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we're going to be
knocked down. My favorite was the party block. Is all gone now.
Well,
now it's
actually,
Billy's or something.
Well, no, it's Cowboy Coast, and that's one of the accounts that we're going to be going to.
Awesome.
Because it's basically the party block, but they wear cowboy boots and they have a new mechanical bull. So, but 8 accounts, and we're going to be taking pictures and doing what we normally do, kind of displaying the business, and trying to get people. And we got some swag to hand out, and to bribe people for the swag, they have to take a picture and upload that with the hashtag. And then we did something a little bit different, and it actually came out of a Mashable article that was sent to me about what IKEA has done. And IKEA has basically their new 2000. There's like a specific line of furniture that they've done, and the ad agency that they use have created a website using Instagram only. So what they've done is they have every product has its own Instagram account, and then they have an overall product line, and they populated the when you look at the profile of an Instagram, they populated it with just the like banners that cross lines and that sort of thing. So it's a creative way. And if you click on any one of those banners, it goes to the other page where you can and everything is tagged. So if people use the hashtag or just tag us in a picture, we can farm the pictures in and that sort of thing. And we're going to create a little micro website just using Instagram, just to kind of experiment with it and that sort of thing. So
that's very cool. I guess, is that just a WordPress plugin that you use to do that?
No, you actually have to do it in Instagram. So you have to make the pictures, and I have it in my head yet, but you have to make the pictures so that they come to the layout on your profile page, appropriately. So because when and then if anybody tags you, because that's like a whole nother page when you of pictures. If somebody tags you versus just using the hashtag, so then you have this whole other profile picture of of that sort of thing, and then people can go and like that. So we don't actually have to have a ton of followers. We don't have to be following a ton of people to be able to get it out there. We can tag pictures we like with ourselves, or the jack honey. And that sort of thing. So we're kind of experimenting with it and see if it works out. If nothing else, just to secure the hashtag to make sure, or the Instagram account, so that nobody else is trolling it.
Squats on it.
Yeah.
And so you said you had a bender. I want to tell you a little bit about my own personal 4th of July bender. I went to New Jersey, which is always bad for me. And I always joke that I go there and I eat and I drink so much that I have to spend the day or two that I'm first home recovering. And to that, I added play too many sports this last 4th of July. My cousins were there, and my nephew and niece were there, and they decided that they wanted to play soccer. So my brothers and I went out and played soccer with them on the first day, and it's like being 12 years old. You can't just fool around when you're with your brothers. It's just too much. So I overdid it on Friday, and then on Saturday we played beach volleyball. And you should never play beach volleyball if you're me. One of the things that I discovered is that my head is quicker than my feet, which isn't a big deal on the regular dirt, but on the sand, I would move and my feet would literally come out from under me, and I would walk and it would whoop, boom, right on my face. I several face plants where just the ground was gone. I kicked all the sand up. Like I imagine it was like a Scooby-Doo kind of thing where I was running, my legs were moving, but I wasn't going anywhere. And then the next thing I fell flat on my face. And so then the third day we played more soccer. And I was pretty sure I was going to have a heart attack. But what was particularly interesting was one of my nephews he's little. He's 8, 6. I don't know. He's under 10, and he's small. And I tripped over him, and I heard my knee go, and it was like crack, 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 and I stepped on it. And I'm like, ooh, that's tender. And so for the next 10 minutes or so, maybe the next 15 minutes, I was just treating it very gingerly, and then the pain went away, and so I continued to play. And what occurred to me now that I'm over 40 is that there are two kinds of cracks. There's a crack that's going to send you to the hospital, but there's the other crack, which essentially is the dust coming off and saying, oh, we're bending this way again now? Cool. We just haven't done that in a long time. So fortunately, that was the kind of crack I heard, and my knee is still completely and utterly functional. But so, yeah, we played soccer, we played sports all morning and drank ourselves into oblivion every night. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. Another quick story is when I walk my dogs, sometimes I'll sing to them. When I'm very, very drunk, sometimes I'll sing to them loud. So we were on the beachfront, and I thought it was just my brother and my sister-in-law and I. So I was singing to the dog as I was walking around, kind of like dancing. I had both dogs, and I was like conducting with their leashes and just being really, really goofy. And then all of a sudden a car starts. And the couple that I'd been walking in front of, I thought it was an empty car. I'd been walking in front of this couple's car for about 20 minutes, and it was like, vroom, and the lights come on, and they pull away. I'm like, oh, sorry to ruin your romantic evening down by the beach.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So.
And you can only imagine what they were saying inside the car.
Because I don't know how well they heard me, and I was singing in a high falsetto. I wasn't even singing like I was like la 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 la, like very loud and falsetto. So yeah, well they're neighbors. They're new on my parents' block, so I'm sure that'll go over very, very well.
That's good. That's good. You got the new neighbors broken in well. That's
absolutely welcome to the neighborhood.
Right.
But that was my 4th of July. My 4th of July adventure.
Well, and we really hadn't expected there to be much of a 4th of July with the storm that wasn't and that sort of thing, and I think that's how I got caught up on on Friday the 4th. my buddy was off work. I'd finished this, so starting the morning off with a Bloody Mary on Friday after several tequila drinks the night before seemed like a great idea.
Yeah.
It
It always does. Yeah, that's what I was. You get to that point where you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have had that last. That last one was. Yeah, but you're a grown up, so you push on through. But yeah, it's tough when you get to that point. You're like, oh wow, if I could go back 5 drinks ago, I wouldn't have had that one, because if that ends up coming up, it's gonna be nasty.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about was we have here the starboard running of the bulls. I don't know anything at all about that, so can you tell me that whole story?
The whole story is it's I've never been, but I've always heard about it, and from what I understand, it's a huge event up in Dewey Beach. The Starboard has hosted it for years and years, and basically what they do is they close down the streets, and everybody dresses in red. They have two dudes that are dressed up or that actually get into a bull outfit, and everybody and they chase them through the streets, and it's all ultimately for a good cause. But they run down the street, they cut over, they run up the beach, and there's from all the accounts, there's tons of champagne bottles, drinking in the streets, much revelry and insanity, and that's all happening on Saturday this week. So
that sounds like it's going to be so much fun. What'll be cool is you guys shooting it, or you just?
Oh no, yeah, we're gonna be shooting it, and actually, spoiler, we're thinking about editing it in the style of like a Game of Thrones type trailer. Like we did the Memorial Day weekend video that we did for them was the summer blockbuster,
right,
big heavy music and dramatic fire and explosions. So yeah, I think we're gonna try with the running of the bulls. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I think we'll do I think we'll end up doing the Game of Thrones theme for that, which should be fun.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Just like
Game of Thrones.
I know what it is, but what makes that opening stand out so much that you call it the Game of Thrones opening?
There's a couple plugins that I've found. So it's, and because of its popularity, I figure House of Bull or something like that. We can, and that we can make that work.
Every now and again, I have the privilege of asking a question and then realizing that I'm probably the only person on the planet who doesn't know the answer. So I asked that, and I'm like, really, I'm probably the only one who doesn't know what the Game of Thrones opening. I don't even have a guess. Like, if you showed me 2 different openings and they both had guys wearing capes or whatever, I mean, they're not like Batman capes. I mean, like I don't know, whatever kings wore, like sheep capes or whatever. I wouldn't know which one was the spoof and which one wasn't the spoof. So.
Well, good. Maybe when you see this video, you'll think
Yes.
it's the real Game of Thrones video.
Oh, that's what I'll say. I'll say, oh well, Game of Thrones ripped this guy off because look, he did this awesome thing. I spoke with a gentleman today, switching gears really quick, who's been writing about beer for a long time, and he asked me if I had ever heard of Chess Bay beer, and I hadn't. Have you?
Chess Bay, no.
It was one of the earliest craft breweries on the Eastern Shore. It was on the Eastern Shore of Virginia.
Huh.
It was closer down to Virginia Beach. And I was just curious only because there was apparently it was like one of the best beers, and it was so well made that it was too expensive and no one would buy it, so they had it close.
The best beers ever made, but not worth the dime, right?
Well, in 1985, right, 1983, 1985, they were really. He said they were too early. If they had started when Dogfish started, they would have had a better chance. He said, but people just weren't ready to pay $6 for a bottle of beer. I mean, for a bottle of beer in the grocery store. Now if you can Worldwide Stout, it's going to cost you $8 or $9 for a 12-ounce bottle. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just a little bit ahead of themselves. So I didn't know if you knew that. And the other thing is, did I tell you about the Golden Quarter
No.
on the last show?
No.
Golden Quarter is the section between Berlin and Assateague. That's just what they've always called it back in the colonial times. Pre-colonial, well, no, 1690s, 1680s. And what's cool about that is I found a beer recipe from, not a beer recipe, but I found a description of what went into the beers there in that part of Berlin in the early 1600s. So I hope to get a recipe out, and maybe people can make it. I don't know if Brian's interested. He seemed like he was interested, but they used a lot of persimmons and a lot of this kind of herb that looks like holly but isn't. So I don't know. Herbal holly. I don't know.
I mean, you did talk about the persimmons, because I remember we were having that discussion on that flavor as being a unique and
right. Yeah. And so anyway, I've got that together now, and hopefully I'll have that to share sometime in the very near future. And that's it. Actually, I also want to say goodbye to my blue-walled studio here. We will here at the Russo House be demolishing the insides. Everything's coming down. The plaster's coming out starting on Friday.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'll be back up in my cubby hole for next week's Todcast.
In the space shuttle, the space station Russo.
Right. Yes, because it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, I bet.
But that's really all I've got going on. I'm so sorry that I'm so slow on the news. I'm sorry. There is one other thing, and I'm going to go offline for just a second because I have to show it to you, because you're not going to believe it unless I show it to you.
All right. Do 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 do. Oh wait. All right. We lost your audio.
There
you go.
All right. This is the Go-Go Gazette.
Go-Go Gazette.
From 1992. This is profiles of strip clubs and strippers from Baltimore and the Baltimore area.
Really? From 1992?
From 1992. It's free. It's the summer of 1992.
Wow.
And you can tell by the hair that it's about 1992.
Is that an autograph?
No, well, yeah, it's, I guess, a faux autograph.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's the advertiser for Good Guys Strip Club. I don't know which of these are there anymore and which of these aren't, but my wife and daughter actually found it when they were at the recycling center, and had the presence of mind to bring it home, because it's just like, yep, we got Steve, we got Boom Boom. I don't know if you can see any of this.
Yeah, that's great. Steve and Boom. I like. Was that some user-submitted drawings that came into the?
Yeah, I actually haven't. I've only had this for a couple hours, and you could publish like.
And it's Baltimore and D.C. in 1992.
Yes.
I might know some people who were trying to pay who were trying to pay off school.
Oh, there is House of Class. You know that in Baltimore?
I don't know that. I've heard of Good Guys. I remember Good Guys when I was in high school.
Clancy's. Good Guy was in JP's is in Washington. I'm trying to find some Camp Springs, Reb's Fireplace, the 1720 Club. None of these are ringing any bells.
No.
Norma Jean's Show Bar. I wish I'd gone to that, because
The Show Bar sounds fancy.
Yeah, Skylark, the Circus Show Bar. I wonder if they're at, here, McDougal's in Pasadena.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
that's still there, isn't it? McDougal's in Pasadena. Maybe.
I don't know, but I just wanted to share it because yes, they had plenty of drawings.
Is that Night Shifts?
Yes.
I remember. Look, I saw just the corner of the drawing, and I remember that. Yeah, the tore up jeans. That is a classic right there.
So I was very excited that they brought it home. They have little biographies of some of the strippers and
Dancers, exotic dancers.
I'm sorry, some of the exotic dancers, and like they tell, like it's really very, very penthouse, like likes dislikes kind of things.
Right.
It's just wonderful, and a gift for my wife and daughter makes it so much more interesting. They wasn't for me. They just knew that everyone who could see this needed to see it. I don't know who threw this out, but shame on them.
Yeah, for holding on to it.
Graphic. It's just wonderful.
Hilarious.
So if I ever finish my current book, what I would like to do is I would like to do like screenshots of these, like a regular screenshots of these to this must be saved is the point. I would get it scanned or something like that.
Maybe you could do some screenshots and upload them with the OC Summer Honey logo.
Throwback, you know what? Throwback Thursday, OC Summer Honey. How's that?
That would be great. That would be excellent.
So before we go, what else we got going on this week besides the running of the bulls?
Well, we got the Mackey's theme party is tonight, and the theme this week is the Redneck Ball. So that will be enjoyable. That's been a good one. I was skeptical last year, but people like it. Natalie has just returned from Walmart with a bunch of camouflage gear, including camouflage tank top and overalls for us, and so that will be this evening. That will be good. And then we got just gearing up for running the bulls. It is a art stroll on Friday in Berlin, so we'll be checking out Laura Siegelpau's photos over at Burley Oak, and and having a good time. And check the calendar over at goodcleanfunlife.com. That's not up to date.
I didn't want to be the one to ask, so thank you for saying that. But I got nothing this week. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at Happy Hour.
For more, go to goodcleanfunlife.com for podcasts, event calendars, articles, and more. Call or text us at 703-828-GCFL.